The worst thing you could have in your unit is nurses being scared to work there. Because imagine not only you go into work stressed and scared of the patient maybe dying, decompensating, something happening with them medically, and you gotta fix it. Now they're coming in with the stress of like, am I gonna get hurt at work?
Oh, I gotta go. I've been working, told them please don't hit my phone. I'm in my zone, bruh, just leave me alone. Was on the road, but I swear I'm coming home. Now the drinks on me, I think we need a toast. See, I did it for me. Now my old friends calling, told them nothing's for free. Told me time is money, dog, swear I paid all my fees. I was starving for this game, now my family can eat.
Welcome everyone to the Couple Nurses podcast on this Cup of News episode with your hosts, Matt and myself, Peter. We are nurses on a mission to change the world, and that change starts with you. Just some housekeeping real quick. Make sure y'all check out cupofnurses.com. We have all our episodes there, a bunch of cool blog posts, a bunch of nursing-related information. Also, we got our shop there, or if you want a direct link, it's cupofnurses.shop. We have all our latest merch. We're trying to get like at least 2 to 3 pieces of merchandise on every month just to freshen things up and just kind of keep it cool, calm, and collective. And actually in May, we're going to have some unit t-shirts come out for Nurses Week. So make sure you guys cop up a few of those. But Matt is wearing the Right Now shirt, RN, and I'm here wearing the Be Well shirt, which are available on wearefrontlinewarriors.shop. It's our sister site. You can also go on wearefrontlinewarriors.com, and that's all of our like conscious, mindfulness, wellness, more of like health related and just bettering society as a whole information on there. So make sure you guys check that out as well. And of course, our video format on YouTube and Spotify now, and we have Pronto coming up. That's spelled PRNTO, prontohealth.com. It's something that we've been working on with a group of some cool people that have the best intent for healthcare professionals in mind. And we want to build a platform that is going to kind of revolutionize and change the healthcare work industry, you could say, and just healthcare in general, and kind of the way we just approach ourselves and the way we approach healthcare as people. But what's up, Matt?
We got a lot going on, man. We got to take it day by day, week by week, and get things done. So on today's episode, we're going to talk to you guys about the 6 tips to creating a healthy work environment. You can use these 6 tips to evaluate how your own company, your own hospital, facility, and to see if you want to work there, maybe some changes that you can help implement to create a healthy work environment. I think it's very important for staff retention, to have happy nurses, and ultimately for you to want to work there in this job.
Yeah. I feel like when it comes to the work environment, we do a good job of complaining and pointing out the negatives and just like stating your opinion, but not really having an idea about how to fix it or how to change it. Like we're good at pointing at the problem and saying, hey, this is an issue, but we don't really have an idea for like a solution. If you talk to your nurses, if you ask them, hey, what's one thing that you dislike about your unit or one thing that you don't like about management or just your work experience, they'll tell you what it is, but they don't really have an answer on how to fix it. That's like a very common occurrence, not just in healthcare, but I feel like in every kind of business, every kind of workplace. So it's always important to figure out those problems, and the best way to figure out those problems is by asking the staff. But then if you ask the staff what the problem is, you also need their kind of opinion to figure out how to solve it. Because if you're not working that unit directly, it's just put in a nursing perspective. Nurses know the problems on their units, and they kind of know how to fix them. And the managers, you could say, also know the issues on the unit because the nurses are telling the managers what the issues are. But the way management sees to fix these things is a lot different than the nurses when they are asked on how to fix these things. Like, so a lot of them don't know, but like the majority of the ones that do know, the ideas are different than what management would entail.
Just like you said in the beginning of the show, the real change starts with you. So sometimes we have to look in those problems and bring them up. So the first tip on creating a healthy work environment is to give your employees a real voice. And this is more from the management side where they have to listen to you in real time and give you feedback. And also when you give the feedback to them, things are being implemented. And it could be small things. It could be things such as the ER is not waiting the 5 minutes, or they're just sending patients up, and that's creating a lot of frustration on the unit where, hey, you tell the charge nurse tell the supervisor, whoever in chain of command is, and they talk to the ER director, charge, or that chain of command, and things get worked out where there's a delay in timing, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, whatever the problem is, where the patients are coming in and safety is at its best performance.
Yeah, voice is really good, but the voice is very important. But the thing is, management has to do something with that voice. I feel like maybe some units have like this great voice. Managers are always asking for opinions, asking for recommendations, but then nothing ever gets done or changed. It's like the nurses are free to say whatever they want, but yet that freedom kind of leads to nothing because there's still nothing kind of being changed. It just like makes the nurses feel good because they're able to speak about their problems and their issues, but nothing ultimately is getting changed.
It doesn't.
So it's like a false kind of hope almost.
Those annual surveys are great examples. How many times as a staff nurse you fill out the surveys? These are the hospital needs or the unit needs, and were they met? Or was it the same shit all over again every single year and nothing gets done?
Or were you a nurse that neglected the survey and just had so much issues with work and just didn't put anything on there? So it's like the only way you can improve something is if you know what has to be improved. So there's a lot of nurses out there that don't fill out those surveys, and they're sometimes the ones complaining the most. And it's like, did you fill out the survey? No, because it doesn't mean anything. It's just like, it might not mean anything right now, or this one survey might not mean anything, but if the same nurses are complaining about the same thing, then that kind of shows management what like the major issues are, and they're obviously going to start with the most popular issue and then kind of trickle down into all these other issues. So yeah, so like the voice, if you don't voice your opinion, voice how you feel, voice your problems and concerns, they're never going to get fixed. And I know a lot of nurses do voice their concerns and problems, they still don't get fixed, but at least someone's aware of something, and then eventually, if management doesn't hear you, the nurse next to you is going to hear you. And it's like 2 complaints now are better than 1 complaint. And maybe the manager still might not do anything. But now you have 6 nurses complaining about the same thing. Then they're going to have to do something because now the management sees that, hey, there's a really problem going on that a lot of nurses are having. And if I don't fix it now, they're going to end up leaving or something's going to happen. So it's like one complaint not going to do anything, but it's the power of multiple that are going to do something. But the thing about surveys is, it's like, it's kind of shitty to think about because when you send out a survey and you're looking for mixed results, you want positives and you want negatives. Majority of the times you're only gonna get negatives because if someone's satisfied with something, they're not gonna say anything.
They don't voice that often.
They don't voice that often, exactly. And this is how we're mostly programmed to begin with. We're more likely to show like being upset than we are happy, because when we're happy, everything's good. But when we're upset, that's that change in the system that really makes us angry. So surveys are always going to be skewed in a negative. That's why when they send out like patient surveys in hospitals, and they're always trying to get the highest scores. But people imagine have to realize that you're not going to ever get the highest scores on anything, because if you disappoint somebody one time, but you make them happy 6 times, they're going to remember you for this disappointment, and they're going to put that disappointment on that survey. And it's almost like a revolving circle of negativity, but it's like a false circle of negativity, just because you might do a lot more benefit than negative, but people are always going to remember that negative. So it's kind of like it sucks, but that's kind of like how surveys work. That's kind of how you fix problems too, but these problems are going to be kind of skewed. At least that's my kind of opinion about surveys for the most part.
Yeah. And in this giving the voice, it's definitely a two-way system. Just like in a relationship, it takes 2 to tango. So nurses have to voice their opinion, and they have to have that channel, the receiver that has to hear them out.
Yeah. Next one is show appreciation every day. So there's a difference between coming on the unit and just like talking to nurses and like doing your job as like a manager. Because when we were working at the hospital, the manager came by, did his rounds, and like the thing to keep in mind for people in higher positions is that when you come on the unit, you're a supervisor, you're a superior, so you're always going to kind of change the emotions of the unit of what's going on right now, just because they see that you're there. So we're always going to feel that you're going to judge us for something. So it's people are a little bit more on like a fight and flight like perspective. So like your job as a manager, if you want to kind of negate those kind of feelings, because those are natural to come up, like be warm, like don't like point things out like in front of everybody if someone's doing something wrong. Don't just come in, say hi, and be like, hey, we got to improve on this and this. I want to make sure everyone's doing this and leave. That's not showing appreciation. That's just you coming in and boss people around. Like if you're gonna come in, like say something positive, Like make your presence. You can make your presence known, but just have a positive attitude, right? Like you had that manager too that came in, or not that came in, but was messaging you about your charting or some shit, right?
Yeah. So in this contract, it's completely different because usually there is management for days, and here it's like a continuous cycle. You have a manager that works till, or CSM, whatever, till 9 p.m. And then you have a guy that takes over from like 9 p.m. to 7 or from 11 p.m. to 7. And you have continuous management. And just like you mentioned, I worked on the tele floor for 2 days straight these past 2 nights. And they just come in there, make sure you guys document your stools. And it's like, okay, great charting. And they're giving appreciation, but just because that's something that they have to look at and evaluate. It's not like appreciation of like, hey, how's the shift going? Good job, guys. Like some genuine appreciation, not like, I'm glad you guys all charted that you're all using a specialty bed, pressure reduction, hey, braiding score less than 18, great job, you guys are all charting heels off the bed. Okay, that's really cool, but it's not the real appreciation, just more like just to get your job done.
Yeah, there's like a difference between like genuine appreciation and like appreciation that you have to do because you have to do it.
Yeah, recognize your employees in a different way.
Yeah, right. Because we do it all the time to our patients as well. Like I'm having a bad day, where I'm still gonna say like thank you and all that kind of stuff, but like I say in a way that the patient probably feels that's not the most genuine. I'm just doing it just to kind of because I have to, and that's not the right way to approach. Of course, there's a time and place for you could say the more professional appreciation, but that's not the only appreciation you should be giving to your employees.
I agree with you, man. Yeah. It goes a long way. And also, like, I was thinking about it, give your employees a day off for their birthdays. I think that would go a long way where you're actually appreciating and valuing them. Perfect example is where you work again. We as travelers have messed up schedules. They don't care that we're a travel duo and we carpool. But this also goes down and stems down to staff, where scheduling is not even giving them the right schedule. So it's like you already are kind of hating you're not hating your unit, you're kind of doing your job, but it sucks where you're not getting even appreciated for doing the right job, and now your schedule, they can't even hear out your schedule, it just gets done. And I feel like they purposely divided it where the unit manager doesn't do the schedule. It's like some schedulers downstairs in the office, because you can't complain and keep going to your manager. It's like a closed system where like, well, it's out of my control. They're scheduling and that's it.
Yeah.
And you feel like you're getting effed.
For sure, especially working nights and in healthcare, it's like either regardless if it's days or nights, but like in healthcare, like you devote minimum of 36 hours a week of your time to help people, and like the person making your schedule cannot look at the schedule and take a few extra minutes to kind of pair you up or align your days properly. Like, it's just like, how am I working in this field where I literally devote my whole life into helping other people, and someone else can take a few minutes out of their time, out of their day, to kind of accommodate for something so small to them, but yet so meaningful for us, especially for nights. There's a huge difference between working 3 in a row and a huge difference between working 2 on, having 2 off, and then going back for that one shift. It's like, people don't, if you never did nights and you're in management and you make schedules and you listen to this right now, like, that's like the worst thing you could do to a night shift person is not give them the schedule that they like. That's like the one thing that I really liked about my prior staff job is I always got a schedule I wanted, and nights always got a schedule they wanted. And if, like, to say they couldn't make it or had to switch a day, they'll come to you and ask, be like, hey, I know you wanted this day off, but can you work on this day instead, because we're kind of short.
Yeah. And it's even a whole, now I'm thinking about it, it's a whole emotional factor, psychological factor, where you're not pissed that you have a shitty schedule, so at least you're coming in with a decent mindset going to work, versus I already feel effed, I already have my sleep schedule messed up, this is talking about nights, but now I gotta go to work because they messed up my schedule. And you're just surrounded by the negativity, and now that might be affecting patient care.
Right. And now they're calling you for overtime. Like, hey, we're short this day, can you come in? You're more likely going to say no, because, hey, you don't give me the schedule I want. You're messing stuff around. You're not giving me what I need. Why am I going to change my whole day and devote another 12 hours for you if you can't even devote some time for me? Because the make a schedule doesn't take a long time. And like, we got this contract. There's a bunch of travelers, and they could easily pair up Matt and I on the same shifts, because every time you go into, has there been a time where you were the only traveler?
No.
Was there a time where there's only 2 travelers? No, exactly. So there's usually a minimum of 3 travelers every shift that I go. Sometimes there's 4, sometimes there's 5, but there's a minimum of 3. So it's like you're telling me that, hey, I'm working here with 2 other travelers, and then you're saying that you can't accommodate for a schedule because you don't want to mess with the travelers and like the staff issues. That's like it's a complete lie. It's just you not wanting to take a few minutes out of your day to kind of satisfy people's needs. And that's kind of shitty because it's healthcare too. My only thing is like it's healthcare. Like this is not finance, it's not business, it's healthcare where we work with people and try to help people. But yet, in management, in the institution itself, nobody cares about anything, and it sucks.
And even going into the travel nursing perspective, we're a travel duo. Not only aren't giving us the right schedule, they're not even aware that we're carpooling. They don't care enough to do that, even though we voiced that opinion. So now we float to different hospitals. We got to take an Uber. You're giving a travel nurse a very bad experience. Now in the community, hey, we have a podcast. We talk to people that we work in this facility. It kind of sucks. And now you're more prone to not getting good nurses that are going to come there for this reason. So it all plays full circle into creating this good work environment where you just get mutual respect, not only from patient with surveys, but also from the employees that are there.
But the crazy thing about it is that people are okay with this because if the price is right, the price is right.
That's why we're here.
Yeah, exactly. Which is crazy because like if you really have a unit that's struggling, like let's just say struggling in like the sense of burnout or sense of like not cohesiveness, people are leaving, coming in, you're not able to like retain staff. Like a little life hack to this is if you pay nurses more money, they're willing to give up a little bit more of their satisfaction for money. And that's how every place works. So like imagine if like you're looking for, let's just say a staff job, and then the staff job says, hey, you're gonna be staffed on this unit, but we could float you if we're fully staffed. Probably wouldn't want to take that, right? If you're trying to go for staff.
Exactly.
Right? But if they say, hey, we have 2 options, we give you option A, which is you're just gonna stay on this unit forever, or we're gonna have you do option B, which is staff and also float, but you'll get paid $5 more an hour.
There's an incentive.
There's an incentive. So now you're probably thinking about it. And knowing the person I am, I'd probably take the $5 because I know that at least I'll be on this course staffed unit, but there's a chance of me floating somewhere else, but I'm gonna make some more money.
And that's what it is sometimes. Like when I know I'm floating or I'm getting floated twice and it's 11 p.m. and I'm rushing, I'm just like thinking, I need some motivation for myself. I'm thinking about that cash dollar. Like, all right, Matt, just whatever, 8 more hours to secure the bag. You're getting, the $1K for the shift, whatever. Like, let's just roll with it, man. Right. And that's that push that just gets me through.
Yeah, and it's crazy because that's like this was one universal thing. If you have someone that's unsatisfied and you can't satisfy them, money is something that satisfies everybody, and that's like
it's like in the movies.
Yeah. Right.
Shut up.
Right. It's like crazy, but that's just like one major way if you want to keep staff retention and have a happy unit, is you just gotta pay people more money, And if you can't afford to pay people more money, then you gotta look at other things. But realize that if you just pay people more money, you're not fixing the core problems. You're just putting a Band-Aid on it.
Yep.
There's gonna come a point in the next couple of years you're gonna need to give them more money again because you still haven't fixed the same problems. And remember, nurses are happy with this money, and they're probably happy for the first year. But guess what? The next year, same problems are still there. You're not fixing the same problems. So less nurses are going to leave, more nurses are gonna come in. But remember, those problems are still there. They're gonna get burnt out. They're gonna become less tolerant of those problems again. You're gonna need to give them another raise. So it's like, money is doable, but money is a cycle where you're going to need to keep giving us money because you're not changing the problem. So you keep putting a new Band-Aid, a new Band-Aid, a new Band-Aid, a new Band-Aid. Yeah.
Diabetes.
Yeah.
The third tip onto creating a healthy work environment is creating a environment of psychological safety and trust. And right away, as I'm thinking about this, I'm comparing working in LA, Santa Monica, which with the whole day shift, the night shift that happened, there was all this drama going on and that nurse. It's really important to create confidence and like an open platform for nurses to voice their opinions, knowing that they're not going to get shamed for it. They're not going to feel like they get kicked out of the team for speaking up or being scared to speak up.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, because especially nowadays, people are scared to speak up because if your views aren't part of the pack's views, like you're already viewed like as a complete opposite. Like everything is almost so polarizing where if you say something that is like a small change to the norm, it's like you're already all the way on the other side. And that's not how things should be. And people are for sure scared to speak out. And like the whole, like the trusting and like the whole safety thing. So safety is a very important thing too, because there was a time where I was charged and like a patient pulled a nurse's hair and she was freaked out, and I never been through that situation before either. So like we put the guy in restraints and all that kind of stuff. But like she was freaked out and she ended up quitting because of that experience. So it's like safety is really important because we're directly dealing with one-on-one patient care. And especially for women, a lot of women are scared walking from, like you could say, the bar or work to their car at night because they're just very vulnerable at that point in time, because women are majority of the times a lot, I don't want to say a lot weaker, but they're just less physically capable as men, so they're always going to be a target for somebody. So like if you can't promote safety in like a work environment, you're not going to be able to retain staff at all. People just don't feel safe because of, let's just say, the patient ratios and the acuity.
That was a big one I was thinking about.
Yeah, and the acuity, because you're getting a lot of like suicidal ideation patients, a lot of like CWAs, and and nurses aren't gonna feel safe because when you have a CWA, you don't really know what the hell the patient's gonna do. You don't really know what's gonna. They get triggered very easily, and it happens. And it's like this is a female dominant career, so like women are gonna leave bedside because of that thing, and that's like the worst thing you could have in your unit is nurses being scared to work there. Because imagine not only you go into work stressed and scared of the patient maybe dying, decompensating, medically, like something happening with them medically, and you gotta fix it. Now they're coming in with the stress of like, am I gonna get hurt at work?
Right, and then also with the whole Redonda case, now your license is on the line, and it always has been on the line. So no safe patient ratios, you're getting swarmed with tasks, yet it's your responsibility at the end of the day, nobody else, because there's all these safety nets put in place where, hey, you missed something, you didn't do this, you didn't document that, it's going to come back to you. And that sucks, where we as nurses, and this is speaking from healthcare, we came in to do this very rewarding soul what? I'm trying to think of the word. Like it's good. It's soul work, right? It's soul work. We're coming in with this like bright white spirit to do our jobs, and then we get freaking like mowed down by healthcare, the truth, verbal abusing patients, freaking everybody's on hacky checks and diabetes nowadays, heavy acuity, and it's like you can just get mowed to the ground. But then you have to worry about the psychological safety and trust that we're talking about now, including your license on the line. It's not a good environment for nurses. No wonder we're getting burnt out.
Right. And then all like the back injuries that nurses have, like shoulder injuries, and that usually also stems to inadequate ratios, because if everyone's busy and you have 4 or 5 patients, or even an ICU 2 patients, but it's a busy night, you don't always have time to bring the sling over, hook them up to the sling, raise them, move them up, and plus you need 2 nurses there technically if you're using the sling. And sometimes it's a lot easier to just boost them up. And if you don't give nurses adequate staff, proper acuity for each assignment and like each unit, the nurses are going to have, that's why nurses take shortcuts. They're going to take shortcuts and they're going to pull that patient up by themselves, and they're going to hurt their back or whatever's going to happen. And then that sucks because they have a workplace injury. Now, guess what? Now, the rest of the shift, they got to deal with pain. Who knows when his pain is gonna stop? Is it a slip disc? What happened? Is it a pinched nerve? Now they have to go home with this pain. They gotta see a doctor. They gotta take time off. And now, 6 months down the line, they get healed, but they come to work and they're like, am I gonna get hurt again? Am I gonna, maybe help a patient stand and hurt my shoulder this time? Like, it's if you don't provide safety at work, that's the worst thing you could do. And that's all stems down once again to like safe ratios.
Yeah, and that goes perfectly into point number 4, which is we need clean and functioning workspace. We keep talking about equipment. You just mentioned prevention, back injuries. Great point. I love that one thing that this hospital is doing that we're currently contracted in is most rooms have the lift in the ICU, but every single patient room has a hover mat, with the blow up device, blanking out on the name, and it's hover mat. Yeah, the hover mat blower. That's what we're gonna call it. And it's so cool because now you're not using a slide board to push over. The hover mat like takes literally 2 nurses. You strap the patient, you pop them over. So I salute this facility for taking the time and having proper equipment. But it's
it makes you use the equipment too. Like, it's okay to use the equipment. Like, sometimes you might just rush things, but you don't have to rush things because maybe you want to sit down and chart. Like, you could just take the few extra minutes and just like do it properly.
Yeah, and that's one aspect. When it comes to work equipment, nothing grinds my gears more than having a shift where you're continuously looking for things. Things aren't properly stocked, where you're calling around EVS, whatever. There's no garbage bags just so I could take out the damn trash. Now I'm looking around. I'm looking through my freaking coworker's trash to pull her garbage bags so I could fill mine. Like, that shit grinds my gears, man.
Yeah.
Looking for glucometers down.
Obturator is not found. Dude.
Printer is not working properly. So now I'm like, check this out. This one time I was in DOU. I can't print out the labs for Medcopia, so I'm going to another patient's room. I printed out an extra armband so I could scan that dude's armband in another patient's room for Medcopia to work. Doesn't work. Tried another room. So now you're wasting half an hour just to prepare for drawing the labs, and I didn't even begin drawing the labs. It's just annoying. I got patient care to worry about, not including charting. Just get your damn equipment down. It would save us so much mental stress.
Equipment's great, but there's also too much equipment. Like, sometimes it's just like, why are we, or equipment, or it could be like protocols or the way, or charting protocols. I feel like the more you chart, the more hospitals get paid out. And that's why these hospitals always add some charting and require this has to always be charted this much times at this time.
2 poops a shift.
Yeah. And because they for sure probably get paid more for that, because they're probably getting saying, hey, insurance, you got to pay us an extra hour per hour of nurse work, because they're checking if the patient pooped twice. They're always checking it. Look at the charting. So now, instead of giving us a bundle for this, they're like, probably it's like a package. And instead of this package, now we have a poop package added on.
Imagine if that's how it really goes.
Imagine,
Holy crap.
Dude, you never
For
know,
all
man.
we know.
Yeah, and it's like our nurses, they always do this, but on top of doing the standard package, we're also doing 2 double poop checks. So technically, you gotta pay us more.
Extra $200 there for that shift.
Right, for sure, easy, bro.
Constipation free.
Yes, and that's probably, maybe that's how it works, and that's how it works. It's crazy, but it's just like crazy how like that's like such a business thing that it could be going on that we don't even know about, because like, to be honest, I didn't realize what charting was. That's how hospitals get paid and insurances do their business until like 3 years into nursing. I was like, oh, so this is why I gotta do all this dumb charting.
So the compassion fatigue hit. Huh?
Yeah, right. It was. I was like, okay, so this is, now I understand why we're required to chart all this extra things, even though in plain sight it's already there. If you just look at the assessment, you could figure it out. But now we gotta do all these other protocol safety things that in reality. Let's just say you're doing your education. You educate your patient every day on something, but when you chart education, it's not really what the hell you educated them on. It's something that you have to do because it has to be done, right? They probably also build their insurance for that too. So that's crazy how that works. That a lot of the stuff that you chart, you're not necessarily doing exactly as like what you charted. That's a crazy concept to think about. Like the plan of care, when I chart a plan of care, am I like looking through a set of the plan of care, making sure that we're attaining these goals, those goals? No, like I'm not. But it's probably not another way for the hospital to build their insurance for more money.
Yep.
Damn, this turned into a How the Hospital Makes Money podcast.
Yeah, we could definitely go off on that tangent.
Yeah, we should open up an insurance company.
So back into clean and functioning workspace, I think it's healthy for everything when it comes to the mental, physical, and the spiritual for the damn nurses. You can retain nurses when there isn't these reoccurring problems that are happening.
Especially even because you bring up the safety, the cleanliness and stuff. Even like during a pandemic, like a lot of hospitals ran out of PPE, and because they ran out of PPE, nurses left. So it's preparation. Like how were you not prepared for something like this, and yet you're a hospital that's supposed to be prepared for this kind of things? It really showed you the flaws and some of the issues that the hospitals have and how much of a business it is. Because you're telling me this is healthcare. I'm working in this hospital where this hospital's one job is to care for people and take care of them when they're sick. And they're supposed to be prepared all the time. They got generators that cost millions and millions and millions of dollars to make the power going. They have other stuff there. They have like the hazmat team on call, whatever. But for some reason, they were not prepared with PPE. And PPE isn't even patient centered. It's more for the nurses' safety. So it's like that just shows you where nurses were on that spectrum too. That you didn't have enough PPE, but you have all this other stuff. You were able to keep management paid. You're able to give people bonuses. You're able to give all this stuff for management for everybody, but yeah, somehow you neglected to keep the safety of your nurses by having enough PPE for emergencies.
Give them some pizza.
Yeah,
give them some pizza.
Yeah, give them some pizza, some maybe. And then
donate some food.
Yeah, and there were people complaining, but then they were giving out bonuses, of course. So if you pick an extra shift, you get your 1.5 or 2 times plus. You get a nice cash bonus, $400, $300. Places were offering $500 at one point for my staff job, and it's like, okay, I'll come in, and you know what? I'm getting paid a lot more. I'm just gonna come in and do my job. I'm not gonna say anything, and it is what it is. That just shows you how the power of money once again. But it also shows you the fact that nurses were never ever thought about first. Never, and it's just it's wild, and it's healthcare,
and it's still continuing, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So till then, that gets changed, and that's why we're on this mission. Because God damn it, we need better, focused nursing, not nursing care, but just taking care of the nurse. That's the front line. Like the nurses are literally the arm to healthcare to make it work. Like we're turning the damn wheel, and we're not even being taken care of. So that's not fair, but hey, we just neglected ourselves and we shut up for such a long time that now we're just speaking up about this, and real change is coming, boys and girls. Yeah. We're coming for you, CEOs.
Yeah, it just takes time. It just takes time. Like remember how the system was built, how long it's been built out for. So just think about how long it's going to take to change certain aspects. It's not going to be like an overmonth kind of thing. It takes like years and years to make changes because it's just like the fundamentals are starting to break.
Yes.
Yeah.
Shameless plug. If you're inspired or feel motivated by these topics, go ahead and join the Cup of Nurses group where we can talk about this in further depth, or start getting the community bigger and bigger where we can start implementing change and change healthcare.
For sure.
The 5th tip on creating a healthy workplace environment is empowering your team members. And this is what we've been talking about for almost the whole podcast now. It's very multifactorial. It's coming from the nurses where we're empowering each other. We're using team building skills. We're asking each other if you need help, do you need to turn your patient, where we feel like a team. But then it also goes to HR and the whole scheduling thing and management, where everything, we're working cohesively, where we feel empowered. And not only from management to make sure you're documenting poop and make sure you're doing your X, Y, and Z. It's just knowing the nurse on a human level where we could all relate to each other, and we know that we have this one common goal of patient-centered care.
Mm-hmm. There's a huge difference when you come to work happy, or you could say sad. And like that's the whole thing about like this empowerment thing is you perform better when there's some kind of cohesiveness around you, or if someone says good job, or if someone says, hey, can I help you? And hey, anything I could do. That goes a long way, because nurses, first of all, don't ask for help a lot. So a lot of times you have to approach them like, hey, can I help you with anything? Then they'll probably let you kind of help. Especially if like for me, and I'm sure you're the same way, we like to just have full control of our patient, always know what's going on. I'll do the bath because I know they're cleaned and all that kind of stuff, versus delegating. It's just kind of like the way ICU built us, because we didn't really have CNAs on the unit, so delegation wasn't really a thing. Because did you have
we all handled it ourselves.
Because y'all didn't have CNAs in LaGrange, right?
It was always a day shift thing, and nights never had one.
Yeah, so at Christ, where I used to work, we had CNAs sometimes, but like there were CNAs, so it's just like the education difference from like me to them, and of course like how much I read up on my patient versus how much they read up on a patient. Like I know a lot more, so like I just rather do it myself.
And sometimes you don't want them to touch your shit. Like, let's be honest. Like, for example, there is the urometer. And for them, it's just like, okay, like, let me keep flipping this urine and let me just empty out the freaking bag at the end of the shift because that's my task. But, hey, how much was in the urometer, because I'm tracking I's and O's every hour, every 2 hours. But now I don't know because you just dumped the whole bag because that was just your task. Versus me, I'm critically trying to analyze and manage my patient because of, let's just say, low urine output.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
and that's just the educational gap where they don't understand, and we get frustrated, and then we don't delegate and all that.
Yeah, it's a really good point. Yeah, like what I always do to if I have like a CNA, that I always let them know, like, hey, like, kind of, this is my plan, is how I do things, and I feel like that's what everybody should do, because that's empowering as well. So if you have a CNA that likes to help out, but let's just say you don't want that help under certain things, just let them know. Be like, hey, I'm gonna empty out the urometers, but can you help me with a bath at like 11 p.m.? We could turn them, get them ready, all that kind of stuff. So like that's empowerment. It's not just that's not controlling somebody or dictating and telling them what to do. This is empowering them. If you tell them what you're gonna do and what kind of they should do and where you could collaborate, that's empowerment, because then, like, the expectations, they know the expectations, and you know how you can help each other out.
Yeah, and I just thought about something which is very great for team building. So after, this was when I was working on the med surg floor in LaGrange, where nurses gave a report to each other, but then the CNAs, the PCTs came through and they got a report from the nurses. So they give you a little bit more of a report that maybe the CNAs between each other missed. Now they get the full picture of what's going on with the patient, because you tell them the more important stuff, and then you tell them specific things that maybe you want done, like, hey, this one is a daily weight, I could help you out, but let's just make sure we get this daily weight done. Versus here, it's like in this hospital, because you're a traveler, but I don't feel there's just that disparity between the two professions, CNAs and nurses, where it's just like the CNA just doing things, you barely have a chance to talk to her, they have no idea what your patient is going through, because they're doing your job and I'm just doing my job.
Yeah.
And there's no cohesive team building there.
Especially a lot of floating too. You get a CNA that's not used to the ICU and just floated. It's just like the stuff that they do in med-surg is a lot different than the stuff that they do in the ICU. Like, it's not completely different, but it's a lot different. And like expectations are different. So it's like, it's tough here because everyone's floating everywhere. And it's hard to also build unit cohesiveness if you're like floating a lot. But this is the thing, that we float out because we're travelers. So our perspective on this isn't probably the best right now, because staff doesn't really float too much, to be honest, unless you're like in a float pool. Because in the ICU, there's not very much staff nurses that floated somewhere else.
So they have that better relationship already, because it's already built in through working for so long.
And what I also noticed is that if you have a lot of different cultures, let's just say, for example, here, a lot of Filipino nurses, and it's interesting because, like, when you have a lot of cultures, like one culture is very similar, and you have a lot of those nurses in that culture, it's like a big clicky kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
So like, if you are part of that kind of clicky thing, just don't forget about the people on the outside, because it's a lot easier for you to bond with somebody that's in your culture. But like, when you have somebody floating that's not in your culture, or a travel nurse like us that we're not Filipino but we're working a lot of Filipino, like, remember to just kind of still bring them in. I kind of noticed that back in Chicago, where I used to work. Like, I came to realization that like our staff was cliquey. It wasn't very cliquey compared to other units, but there was definitely some clickiness going on. And it's almost like when I got caught up into that clickiness, it's almost like I forgot to care about the nurses that are floating to help us out. And then when I realized that, I was like, oh shit, like, this isn't the best thing. It's cool because the clickiness, like, you're very close with the click, but then you forget the people on the outside, and they're still important because they still need to be empowered and be good to, like, they have to be empowered, and you have to empower them because they're always in change and they're always new. So it's just like, their empowerment is super important because you need them to do a good job. And if a nurse doesn't feel empowered, like you mentioned multiple times, or happy or satisfied, they're not going to be able to perform the best. And it's just like our job to kind of get out of that clickiness mindset and actually just like try to bring them in. Like, you're never going to bring them in 100%, but at least you bring them in 10%. You know their name, you know a little bit about them, they know a little bit about you, you start a conversation, maybe they're asking about how to set up an A-line because your tubing is different, and instead of telling them how to do it, you go show them how to do it. And while you're showing them how to do it, you're talking about them, asking about their experience, their expertise, what kind of stuff that they usually do, like what are they used to, and it makes them feel more welcomed, and like, more empowered. And if you feel more empowered, you feel like you actually matter in this unit, even though you're an outsider. So it's very important. It's like small things, especially for travel nurses. If you have a lot of travel nurses on your unit, it's like these little small things that we appreciate, because like we're always traveling, so no one really gets to really know us very well or at all, if that. And if you're like me, for the most part, it takes me like I want to say a solid month to like kind of warm up to everybody on the unit. Then I could kind of, start talking to them, because I haven't kind of figured out. But it's just like always nice when somebody like empowers me or helps me with something, or just like treats me with like kindness, you could say, because you feel happier going to work, because it's like you at least know somebody, and it's just like you want to do a good job, not only for yourself at that point, but also for the unit. So the unit has like a good value to like itself, so it looks nice.
Yeah, even like the charge nurses that take the time to give you a quick tour, or say, hey, let me know if you need anything, and you already feel that resource that's there, that's going to help you out in this lone wolf game of being a travel nurse.
And also, that's one more thing. Also, like language. Like if you're at work, and let's just say a bunch of Polish nurses that you work with, and if you're always speaking Polish and like 10% English, that kind of is a little frustrating too sometimes. I don't really get frustrated, but I can see other nurses that get frustrated on the unit, because, like I said, we have a majority Filipino, so they speak Filipino. Is that what their language is? I'm sorry. You probably should know that, right? With all the Filipinos that I work with, whatever language they speak, like I don't get offended by it, because I'm Polish. I speak a second language, so I kind of know how that works. And it is. I'm not like scared that they're talking shit or whatever. I'm not worried about that, but I know that that's just how they speak. And it is what it is. But I know some nurses
speak Tagalog. That's the most common Filipino language.
Interesting. So if y'all speak Tagalog,
90%.
Yeah. So if y'all speak Tagalog, like be mindful of like people that you work with, because some people might see that as being rude, you could say. I don't see it as being rude. I'm not sure if you see it as being rude, but because like I've worked with a lot of Polish people in my life, and we always talk Polish, and then like there was a few people that only spoke English, and then I kind of realized like, hey, like we speak majority Polish here at work, but we have like these 3 American people that don't speak any Polish, and like no one's really talking to them. So that's like a big thing too. Yeah. Don't get caught up in that either.
The 6th tip to a healthy work environment is to promote wellness. And this is more from a higher management side, I would say, is to provide a good psychological, emotional, physical environment for your nurses to be taken care of, and all of the hospital staff. One of those things is making sure they get breaks, and that's why we love California so much. Or creating an environment or setting something aside for nurses where they could go ahead and relax, where we're always in fight or flight. And that's what a lot of people don't understand when it comes to first responders, is like we're just going about our day in chill mode. All of a sudden we gotta just go into fight or flight and do the stressful situation and just handle it. And if I'm taking my break, like why not go have a recliner couch or a room with some aromatherapy just so I could unwind. I think that's important to promote. That should be everywhere in the hospitals. Every single place that we worked at that had something like that, we always liked it more. We always brought it up, whether it's Oakland you mentioned right before the show, or the recliner chairs in Santa Monica. Anywhere where that happens, it's better. And even like promoting wellness from, I don't know, maybe having nurses do the step stuff and like a little competition where you're promoting the healthy environment that way, or promoting something where there's this monthly thing where maybe you could bring in a healthy snack versus just pizza, because you're actually caring for that, because that goes a long way if you're taking care of your body and delivering that to work.
Yeah. How cool would it be that if like, because wellness is a huge thing like for everything in life, and like imagine if, for example, hospitals, because when you see a hospital, what's usually located by a hospital there, or what's like in a major city? If you have a city with a hospital, what else is going to be there? A gym, right? You're going to have a gym, and usually like a place, like a fitness center, or a place to kind of like a spa, or a place to get a massage. They're everywhere, right? And near every hospital. So like imagine if a hospital offered, hey, we could maybe not cover the full expense, but maybe they could be like, hey,
like discounts, like a discount list for wellness.
But stuff. Like imagine this. Imagine if like your manager said, hey, we're offering this program that we're gonna take off $10 out of your paycheck or $20 out of your paycheck a month, And with this, you have access to this gym that's located by the hospital, or this spa center by the hospital. Like, imagine how much value that would have if, let's just say, the gym costs, I don't know, $30 a month per nurse, you could say, and then you say, hey, we'll cover the majority of the cost. All you gotta do is pay $10 a month, and we'll cover the 20. I guarantee you, every nurse, if majority of nurses, if not every nurse, would be open to that, because $10 a month is nothing. What you get, it doesn't matter where you're working as a nurse. $10 a month is nothing. And then what if they cover like a $65 monthly spa price? Maybe they say, hey, if you put in $20 a month, we'll cover the rest of the spa thing for you. And imagine how life-changing that would be. Imagine having the ability to do a massage once a month, and the ability to work out whenever you want. Because the hardest thing for people is getting started, right? It's getting started. Even when you start doing massages, like the hardest thing was going to Massage Envy the first time, signing up, doing this, doing the paperwork, going through the process. That's the biggest pain in the ass, and that's how it is. So if you could eliminate that and have people just on board real quick, they're gonna be more open to doing that. And plus, like, if the opportunity is there for you to do it, you're more likely to do it.
And plus, it feels good that your employer's taking care of you this way, and they're giving you incentives for signing up for places like that. Or you know how like the gyms have like the competition of who had the best transformation. Imagine if you do that for the unit, and whatever the prize is at the end of the day, that'd be awesome. I think it would change it, because it's coming from like a genuine place. Because usually when you think of work, you think of like work rewards, like a poster somewhere, a gift card. But this is like a reward for your hard work. But this reward is outside of a hospital reward. It's not a Daisy award where, oh yeah, recognition in a hospital. Screw the Daisy award. If you offer me a gym membership and like a place to go to a sauna for $30 a month, dude, screw your Daisy award. I'd rather have that. And I guarantee nurses would have that, because it's just like you're rewarding these nurses, but you're rewarding like in-house rewards. It's still, there's a difference between a reward that you get at work and a reward that you get outside of work. The outside of work one is going to be better no matter what. Yeah,
and it's so stupid it's like, yeah, gift cards are cool and stuff, but remember that like if you get a reward like a gift card and stuff, that's probably considered like a donation that the hospital's probably writing off for the taxes anyways.
After this episode, we can make a consulting firm that a hospital would pay for us to consult to change the work environment to a healthy one.
Or even, dude, like think about preventive medicine. What if they say, hey, we're creating like a preventive clinic in our hospital, and for $50 a month off your paycheck, you could go do like a monthly visit and get your blood draw and something like that. Like hospitals have every medical thing in-house, but it's like they don't provide those options for their own staff.
Right,
do those.
Just like people think that we have the best health insurance because we're nurses.
Yeah.
Nope.
No.
That doesn't mean anything.
Right, but we literally work somewhere where all this could get done, but it's not offered to us. Like that's crazy. Like if people, you want to keep people healthy, you want to have healthy nurses. Like how the hell are you a hospital or in healthcare, but you don't know how to keep nurses healthy? It sounds like a big scam. It's like having a weight loss program that no one's ever losing weight on.
It's a business, man.
Right? Like if you think about it, it's just like wait. How does it happen where you work in healthcare, your main goal is to make people healthier and better, and yet you can't even make the people working there healthier and better? That's some shit to think about. But like, I feel like there's a prevention thing, maybe this gym thing. I feel like that's totally doable. You can work out a contract, and I guarantee the gym would probably lower their prices too from 30 to 25, because if your unit has 14 nurses, guess what? That's 14 customers, and not all 14 nurses they might sign up for it, but they're not gonna go work out still. They might do it, but you're always gonna have those people that pay for a subscription but not really go, and that might be like 4 nurses. So technically, the gym is still making money because they're making money off all 14 nurses, but only 10 are technically going, 4 aren't.
Yeah.
So it's like an interesting business they could do.
These are all great ways that we could implement real change to create a healthy workplace environment. If you guys have any other thoughts or any other input that could make a healthy environment, go ahead and shoot us a comment, DM on social media, or join a Facebook group and give us a response there, and we'll have an open discussion.
Yeah. Or even if you know how to, if you're in management or somewhere, like a CEO of something, or just work in a hospital administrator, I mean, maybe you could even figure out a way how to incorporate this whole gym thing, this whole spa thing into employment, because like people take away money out of their paycheck to finances for their 401k. They take money away your paycheck for insurance. At my old job, you could like take X amount of money out of your paycheck to like you could take a health fund that you could use for certain health things. So like I don't see why this can't be incorporated. Like, has nobody thought about this besides us for the first time? You know, I feel like it's like a little thing, but I'm not sure how much politics go into it. But it's just like I feel like this is a really easy way to like show nurses that you care. Just imagine going to work somewhere and someone says, "Hey, do you want to sign up for the hospital gym program?"
I'm imagining it.
Like
so doable.
I'll be like, what? Like, that's a thing? Yeah, sign me up. Like, that'd be such a cool thing, because that just shows you that like they care about your health and the things you're doing outside of hospital. Because if you have a great life outside of hospital, you're gonna probably have a great life in the hospital.
And then ultimately that's going to give us better surveys, better patient care. We're a hospitality business, and all is well. More raises for the nurses.
Yeah, beautiful.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. If you guys find value in this podcast, give us the 5 stars. Give us the like, comment. We appreciate it. And we'll keep on doing what we're doing. Thank you.